Alright, I just finished watching Loki episode 4. What an episode. We got a lot of answers, we got some more questions asked. Overall, an episode where I felt things kind of really picked up. Even though I was enjoying it before, it feels like things are more in motion now. But let's get more into it, more in-depth, with full spoilers, starting from now. And yeah, let's just get into it. Also, before we get too much into it, this video is brought to you by NordVPN. Go to nordvpn.com/BHLHudson or use code BHLHudson to get a 2-year plan with 73% off. I repeat, 73%. Plus 4 months for free. And that is a limited time offer. NordVPN can help you access entertainment from around the world, and it keeps your online activities safe and private. And also, if you get it using my link, it helps me out. It's a no-brainer, it's a win-win, everyone's got a VPN these days, so get one for yourself with a big discount by going to nordvpn.com/BHLHudson or using code BHLHudson, link in the description. Alright, first things first, we get more Lady Loki stuff in this episode, aka Sylvie. Like her origin and why she hates the TVA, and that I felt really helped to flesh out how terrible the TVA is more. Because essentially, we were first led to believe that they were this peacekeeping good force. I mean, it was a bit suspicious, but you know, that was what they were trying to get us to think, and it's slowly been more revealed that they basically just take people who haven't done anything wrong or anything that they can control, and take them as their prisoner, and potentially murder them. And so Sylvie's life was basically just destroyed because she existed. And the fact that Ravonna doesn't even remember Sylvie's, time nexus offense, which you can imagine was this thing that's plagued Sylvie's mind for all these years and has been basically haunting her. The fact that she doesn't even care enough to remember, and the fact that she seems to take a bit of pleasure in that, yeah, it fleshes out how messed up the TVA is. And also with the variants who are captured from their own timelines and forced to work in the TVA, basically as slaves, their memories are erased and then they just work for them forever. I thought that was well done with that one TVA woman being shown her past from Sylvie and the emotion it made her feel and the way that scene was done. I think that was well done. And I also think Sylvie having to grow up in apocalypses just to escape the TVA, who she never did anything to, they just started hunting her because of her existing, and she had to grow up in these extremely dark and brutal environments of the end of the world constantly. It's good character development for her, and I think all of that is really well written, and it's been well revealed as the episodes go along. Also on Sylvie, the Loki on Loki love. So, from what I'm gathering, even though they were sort of flirting, it's not really a romantic or sexual love. I mean, maybe there's a romantic element to it. I mean, there seems to be. They were flirting pretty heavily. But it seems to be more the fact that they can find love and someone who cares about them. Basically, that breaks the whole timeline. And it's that thing that I was talking about, that Loki doesn't follow his destiny and he chooses his own destiny, and you can't put him in a box and just say he's gonna always be alone, and as Sif keeps repeating in this episode as well, that he can actually find love, and that's what causes this break in the timeline. And I mean, there is a part of that of love, the power of love saves the day, which some people might roll their eyes at. But I think for the theme of the show clearly being choosing your own destiny and not being forced to fit into the story that's set out for you, I think that can be an interesting element in bringing down the TVA. We get Mobius back in this episode, which is nice to see. I missed him last week. Him and his beautiful mustache. My favorite Mobius part was him making fun of Loki for falling in love with himself, basically, because that's kind of what I was thinking last episode. I mean, I know it was meant to be mean, and he's kind of breaking him down in an interrogation, but I also did find it funny. It also makes sense that Mobius would A, be angry with him, and B, wouldn't believe him. It's a boy who cried wolf situation. It's frustrating, but it's not frustrating in the sense of it's dumb for the story. It's frustrating just because you care about the characters. I do also like that Mobius isn't an idiot and is kind of a realistic character who starts to put stuff together, and he doesn't just for the sake of the story not understand something. He, actually starts to piece things together. And then he dies, kind of, not really. So I guess prediction correct? Can I get huge credit for that? For kind of vaguely predicting something for once? I mean, he's not dead. He, I guess, went to the same place Loki went at the end, or maybe his own version of that, who knows. But he did also mention the jet ski again, which was nice, and he'll be back. I mean, we're definitely going to see him again. And I think he'll probably get a happy ending, where he goes off, maybe his memory is erased, he doesn't even know who Loki is, but he goes off and lives his life again. That's probably how it's going to end. And on kind of putting things together, and the mystery coming together, we get the timekeepers in this, which, to be fair, good job on kind of convincing me for a second, because I was so sure of this theory that they were not real and they were made up and all this stuff, and then we see them at the start of the episode. Great shot, by the way, quite creepy. And I did genuinely think for a second, oh, maybe I was wrong. I mean, they were still definitely not well-intentioned, even if they were real. And I still thought Ravonna had some part to play in it. Maybe she was manipulating them or something, which I guess she was in the end. But fair play on, I thought it was a pretty predictable twist coming, that the timekeepers didn't exist. And I'll give you credit for actually putting a little bit of a twist on that and fooling me for a second. Good on you. The CGI on the timekeepers looked a little strange. It was a bit creepy, a bit uncanny valley, I guess. I don't know, the way it was shot too was a little creepy. I guess it was meant to be. I guess also because they're animatronic, it wasn't meant to look super realistic. But yeah, it was definitely cool to see. Like, again, with this story, you don't really know where it's going. So seeing the timekeepers like this, even if they did turn out to be androids, it was cool. I wasn't expecting it at all. It was cool to just see something that I didn't predict was coming. And then at the end, yeah, the robots are androids. Very sci-fi kind of twist. And Loki doesn't die, but gets pruned, as they say, which I guess means he's sent somewhere. We'll get to that. And then the next episode, as I thought with episode 3, maybe is going to be a bit exposition heavy, where it's like Sylvie interrogating or getting info from Ravonna. But I thought that about episode 3, and that wasn't really that. So I think I should stop expecting that WandaVision exposition episode to come, because hopefully it doesn't. I think we'll just get more answers next time without it being just the entire episode. Because then also in the post-credit scene, we see Loki has been transported to, I'm going to guess, some other dimension. And actually, I'm just putting this together on the spot, so if this is wrong, that's my excuse. I suspect this is going to be a timeline where Loki beat the Avengers, or Loki won in Avengers 1, because I remember in the trailer there was that shot of, like, New York being wrecked. Maybe then, like, they started a Loki civilization, because you see these, Loki people. So maybe that's what it's going to be. So maybe it's some kind of, like they have the time prison where you go to a bad memory, maybe it's some kind of alternate reality of something you did, maybe it's something you thought would be good, but then it was bad. I don't know, but I think it's going to be something like that. It was a cool thing to see. I think it's interesting how these shows put, like, pretty vital stuff after the credits, because I almost missed this, to be honest, because the other episodes haven't had post-credits, but I guess it would also be explained in the next one. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That seems fun. We're going to get that, like, President Loki thing that we saw in the trailer. Exciting. And I also like that it's not wrapping up, but we're getting more info. It seems, I can't really say this before it's finished, but it seems so far to be a well-paced show. Like, it's building up this mystery and revealing things slowly, and then we only have 2 more episodes, so it's going to wrap it up, I hope, pretty well, but, like, it's not going to go too long, and so far, it's really well-paced. And overall, I thought this episode was probably the best one so far. I thought it had better dialogue. The other episodes had good dialogue, but this one, it felt more sharp and purposeful. Even though I enjoyed the last episode, there were parts of it that maybe felt a little meandering, and I mean, not meandering, but I just enjoyed that this one felt, like, sharp, focused, it knew where it was going, it all felt quite purposeful, the dialogue was good, the writing, like I mentioned, was good, and like I mentioned at the start, it's all kind of picking up more and coming together more. Again, I like the previous episode, but I also like that it feels like it's culminating a bit, and you're getting answers, and you're getting some payoffs, and I feel like it's building to a cool finale. I don't know, I'm really enjoying this. At the end here, just some fun things, some miscellaneous stuff. The whole end of the world sequence was pretty spectacular visually. Like, again, for a TV show, it's just flawless visual effects and just a cool shot and sequence in general. Also, I like that Owen Wilson finally gives Loki a nice line instead of him just being beat down constantly, which is what I feel like has been happening for the whole show. That was a nice change of pace for a second. We get a Sif cameo, the Bad Memory Prison. Again, I love the TVAs, like, messing with time and using time and dimensions and whatnot for different creative fun things. That was just a funny scene and a cool concept, and it was cool to see Sif again. And I guess we're gonna get her in Thor: Love and Thunder as well, I believe. But yeah, it was fun to see her again. And also, like we kind of did with the D.B. Cooper thing, it's fun to have a glimpse at Loki's life before we knew him. They've been alive for thousands of years. There's so many adventures you could fill in if you wanted to. So to get little glimpses of that, it was cool. They mentioned that Kree, Titans, and vampires have been brought to the TVA. I guess that's a Blade reference, because we're getting Blade pretty soon with the Mahershala. And also Titans, so like, I mean, they probably didn't bring in Thanos himself, but Thanos-esque creatures. I enjoyed the music in this. I have mentioned the synthy kind of music I enjoyed in previous episodes, and here, and I mean, it's also been in previous episodes, but that Celtic type of music, it fits the Loki, and especially Sylvie character really well, and it's nice to listen to, I guess. It fits the show. I like it. And last thing I'll say here, and it's kind of, I don't know why I'm ending on like a negative, but the only real like negative I have about this episode is the action is just kind of clunky and poorly edited and fast cuts. Nothing really looks that real in the sense of like, it doesn't look like they're really hitting each other. To me, it kind of looks like the stunt video you would see afterwards of like how they coordinated it. It's not terrible, but it's kind of like I mentioned last Loki video that some of the shots feel a bit creative and like there's a bit of extra spice thrown on there. Like it's not just the exact standard how you would shoot, a show. There's a little bit of creativity. I feel like the action is the opposite. Like they plugged in like an action scene package. It feels like. It does feel very generic and just like we need to have some punching and some fist fights. And funnily enough, I know with other shows or movies sometimes the story is a bit dull or not very well done and then you're like waiting for the cool action. In this one the story is cool and fun and interesting and the dialogue's great and the world and the atmosphere. And then when the action comes, I kind of not check out, but like I kind of like, oh, okay, like this is this. But anyway, I don't know why I ended on a negative. I really enjoyed this episode. I think it's my favorite so far. Maybe next episode is going to be a little slower, but I feel like it's all going to be pretty exciting, cool stuff from here. And yeah, 2 more episodes and then boom. There's not a ton I didn't like about the show so far, and if the next 2 episodes are like this, pretty great show. So yeah, very much enjoyed Loki episode 4. What did you think of it? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments, and where do you think this is going to go, by the way? What are your theories? Let me know. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, check out my Instagram and Twitter at BHL_Hudson, check out this podcast that I do with a friend of mine where we talk about movies, TV shows, a bunch of nonsense. It's called The Poorly Planned Podcast, and subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.